Do you ever realize that we get so caught up within the illusion of dynamics sometimes? And in that illusion is where we lose all of our power because we're not understanding that it's just an illusion, right? I'm going to give you some scenarios, okay? So the collective is all about, oh, the DM is all narcissistic to the DF, and F the DM, F the DM, like he's such a piece of poop, and when is he ever gonna heal, and blah 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 blah. Okay? Which, yeah, whatever, it might be the truth. Maybe your DM is being a POS or, whatnot, and maybe they do need to heal. Maybe they are, showing a lot of narcissistic qualities. But what does that have to do with you? Nothing, right? Like, it has nothing to do with you. Whether or not he's your DF or DM and you are the DF, it doesn't matter. That's where we're losing our power, guys. Like, getting so stuck in just that scenario is where you're losing your power, which means we need to heal too, correct? Like, we're still needing to heal. There's still something in the illusion that we're not understanding, correct? It's only ever about you. That's where this whole thing that we're trying to learn is coming from. Like, you have to be selfish with you. You have to want what's best for you and only what's best for you. Because when you want what's best for you, it will in turn become what's best for the other person or any other person that you encounter. Okay? Because you getting so upset about this DM and his narcissistic qualities, or him not showing you the right quality of love, or him manipulating you or lying to you, or the list could go on and on and on. That's where you lose all of your power, because you're getting stuck in the illusion that you can change them, that you can make them love you somehow, that you deserve to stay in a situation for, whatever lifetime you're thinking you can stay there, and just take whatever they're dishing out until they decide that, or until they realize that you're the type of person that they should be showing you a certain type of love. No. Like, you could stay in that situation. I mean, I know there's so many times that we can't just leave, per se. Maybe you have kids, maybe you need to figure something out. Maybe it's what's best for your kids to stay around, right? Those are things that we always think about, right? Especially mothers. We're always like, oh, well, I had to stay because my kids, I didn't want them to be without a father, or I didn't know how I was going to support them without, this dynamic or whatnot. Okay, then have a conversation. Have a conversation and say, listen, I feel like this. I feel like I need to be loved in this way. I feel like I need this kind of connection. Do you think you can give this to me? Obviously, you can't expect that person to just change every behavior they've ever had in 1 second, right? So you throw it out there, you tell them what you desire, what you feel that you need in order to become the person, or in order to embody the person that you know that you are, to be able to hold your power. And then you give them a little bit of time to see if they can step up and show those qualities to you. Because I'm sure they could if they wanted to, right? But the problem is sometimes we don't get to embody those qualities until we meet the right person. Or it could be the right person, but until they've learned certain lessons that break up certain illusions in their mind, they can't embody their full power. And you can never love somebody in the most authentic ways until you step into your full power. It's all levels, guys. Like, it all goes back to things. It all goes back to the same thing. It's like a merry-go-round. It's like once you figure out one thing, and then you go around the merry-go-round again, you learn another lesson. And that lesson ties back to the first lesson, but then also gets deeper and throws you into another lesson, you know? So here's like another fun way to think about it. I have an older daughter and I have a younger daughter, right? The younger daughter's a baby. So I asked my older daughter if she could keep an eye on the baby while I go out for a cigarette or something. That way I know that her brothers aren't going to throw something and hit her in the head or something like that. Like, you want to have somebody keeping an eye on somebody that has no ability to speak or whatnot. So you make sure your baby is changed, dressed, comfortable, right? And you're putting the baby in, say, a swing or something that you know she's strapped in, she's going to be secure. Everything's going to be okay. There's no chance of her dying per se, but there is a chance of her being uncomfortable or maybe wanting her pacifier or her, her bottle and whatnot. So you leave those options out for your older daughter. So there's a bottle there and there's a pacifier, and you know that all the other needs that that baby could possibly have are all taken care of. So the only thing that your daughter would have to necessarily do is if the baby starts fussing, try the bank, try the bottle. Try talking to her, try making her giggle, something like that. And if all else fails and she still starts crying, but your older daughter's tried all the other things, what option does your older daughter have left? Well, she already knows that she doesn't have an option to pick the baby up because you've told her to keep the baby in the swing. It's the safest thing for the babies to stay in the swing. But try to make the baby happy if possible, right? If you can't make the baby happy in all the ways that you've been given, then the only thing left for your older daughter to do would be to sit there, remain calm, and make sure the baby's not in danger, right? But instead, we as people end up thinking that we have to solve the problems of everybody else. And in turn, while trying to think that we have to solve their problems because they're not happy, we make ourselves unhappy. We freak ourselves out. We start getting anxious and depressed and suicidal. Because we've all lost our power. We've all forgotten that it's within us to be peaceful. It's within us to love ourselves. It's within us to be in a situation that we don't feel we're getting true love from a person and still be able to show true unconditional love to that person. Right? Because once you get your power, you love yourself. And once you love yourself, you love everybody else because you understand that everything is an illusion. That DM isn't being narcissistic because he hates you per se. He's being narcissistic because he's unhealed. He hasn't learned the lessons to change the behaviors that he puts out into the world. And so he's not even thinking about the behaviors as narcissistic. He's just thinking, this is just how I behave. This is just what I do. And until he finds the right person that makes certain feelings, I guess, released from his heart space, then he's just not going to understand what you're saying. And so at some point, you're going to have to realize that he doesn't understand, no matter how many times I tell him that I want love this way or I want love that way. He doesn't get it. And he might understand it for a week, but then he's going to forget it again because the cloud of illusion comes back up. Ah! And it's not always necessarily a person that has to unlock certain things in order for the illusions to start to dissipate. Sometimes it's just a situation that we end up sitting in. Or it could be a non-romantic person that activates the certain buttons within our bodies that start to dissipate these illusions. But the main thing is, until the person starts to realize where their true power comes from, and until they're able to fully embody that power, they tend to treat people in unpleasant ways. And that's the whole point of healing. Because even a person on a healing journey steps out of their power so many different times because illusions pop back up. And we have to remind ourselves that it's just an illusion. And so if you are in a situation that you feel like you're not receiving what you're putting out, that's where the universe says to release and let go. But another step to that process is realizing that you don't have to release or let go in the illusion that we know of releasing and letting go. It's not necessarily the act of F you, I'm out of this, relationship, or F you, I'm out of this job. It's more of a releasing and letting go of the feelings behind the situation that are triggering you. Okay? So, say you are in a marriage and you have these children and you've been in this marriage for so long and you don't want to necessarily make your children have to go through a divorce and all this other stuff. You've thought through all these things, and not only have you thought through all those things, but you have talked to your partner, not just once, not just twice, but several times. You guys have talked about it, you have gone through all the issues. At that point, people usually end up cheating if they don't want to leave for the children, or whatever the situation may be. A lot of horrible things start to happen because we're thinking that we don't have the power to step out of the marriage because we need to protect our children, or whatever the case may be. And maybe you're just stuck in a fear-based thing where you don't think that you'll have the power to be able to support them, or whatever it may be. Say you step at it a different way. Say you've talked to your partner, you've expressed your feelings multiple times, and they know what you want, and somehow they might try it for a week, but then it all goes back to be the same situation over and over again, and you just feel like it's like a merry-go-round of of the same crap in different ways over and over again, right? At that point, if you're not gonna say, I'm single, I'm gonna get my own house, blah, blah, blah. If that's not what you want to do, then there needs to be another conversation. There needs to be something like, okay, I still don't have the love from you that I've been expecting or wanting. And I feel like the love that I'm asking for is what helps me embody my full power as a person, because when I'm feeling these types of things is what opens my heart space fully. Okay? If you're explaining this to that person and they don't hate you, so they want you to be able to be in your power, right? They want you to be able to feel happy. So what's the next step? Well, they're going to either say, okay, I want you to be loved the way you need to be loved. So either let me help you get into the situation where you need to get into. Let me help you find an apartment. Let me help you with the finances, because you know you've been the one that stays home for this amount of time or whatnot. But if that's not what you guys want to happen, then the other person, who inevitably doesn't hate you but maybe isn't showing you what you need, says, okay, what else can we do? What can I do, since I'm not giving you the things that you need and I don't know how to give you those things yet? What else can I do in order to help you get to where you feel like you're in your power? Do we need to have, an open relationship? Do we need to not be in a marriage but live together and help each other with our children in a healthy way? And obviously, if it's ever a case that you're getting, physically or emotionally abused, then you need to be able to leave. Even if you're not in your full power, you need to ask your friends and family for help. But the fact is, we do have the power to embody the most authentic, unconditional love that the universe is in itself. That the nature of the world shows us as humans. Nature gives us everything and anything that we ever could possibly need. But we don't necessarily show nature the unconditional love that it deserves back. But it keeps giving it to us because that's what we need. So, I don't even know at this point. Like, if you're in that situation and maybe you haven't figured things out yet, I just want you guys to have another layer of understanding. That I know that it's probably not easy, and it's probably so freaking hard for you to not feel the feelings that you're wanting to feel. But stop looking at that other person as narcissistic and evil, or a demon embodying a person just because they don't know how to show it to you. I challenge you to keep giving them unconditional love until you guys can figure out your situation, because you're not going to be able to make them heal, but they could be the most perfect person in the entire world for you once they do heal. But sometimes the exact thing that's going to get them there is you stepping away, is you not allowing them in your heart space anymore, you putting that boundary up and saying, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to start seeing other people, or I'm moving out. Sometimes that is exactly what needs to happen in order for them to start to detach from the illusion and begin to embody the power that they have within them and be able to express that to you. What are y'all's thoughts?